must have been almost about to subscribe to this week of workshop, and you will be going to be introduced to four of these workshops for GCSE English language, in which I'm going to be sharing these resources with you all, and you guys would be able to access them and benefit from them for the entirety of your year, for your entirety of your board year. And these are resources related to analyzing texts, unseen texts, and seen texts, both of them, structural devices in prose and how to use them in the most appropriate manner. Then we have here writing techniques. Writing techniques include all those literary devices that. All right, so these themes are going to be able to enhance your writing and give you a very crafty and seamless flow in the way you craft your answers. And I want you to be able to craft them in such a way that they are very outstanding, and they stand out when the interviewer, the checker, is checking them. All right. So this is an amalgamation of all the English resources, and this would get you to understand more and more about it. Now, why am I showing you all these resources? The reason for that is that these resources will help you even after these four classes, and it would help you make up your mind whether you want to continue studying English or not. And even if you don't, these resources are ample enough for you to get going with your revision of English language. Now, this is what our plan is going to be. We're going to assess all the key areas that are relevant to English language paper 1 as well as paper 2, in which we'll be planning your exam time. We'll be assessing paper 1 reading questions, all of them, then paper 2 reading questions, and understanding all the ideas related to skimming and scanning and all the tricks that come into play with it. How to annotate the sources, the insert that is attached to the question paper, as well as the writer's viewpoint, facts, opinions, and expert evidences. Then we'll assess how to build your vocabulary up to such a point that you will be able to have a seamless, um, a natural flow, and the use of correct terminology when you're writing answers. Also, we will also be focusing on writing, not just analyzing questions and how to attempt them, but actually writing them. All right. So this is how you manage your time. You already know there's bifurcation of your exam, GCSE exam, into paper 1 and paper 2. We've got 5 questions for paper 1, 5 questions for paper 2, but there is a slight difference in how you allot each question, the time, the minutes. And so question 1 for paper 1, it should only be allotted for 55 minutes. Then we have question 2 for 10 minutes. 3 should always be allotted 10 minutes. 4, however, on the other hand, 20 minutes. 5 with 45 minutes. Now, this alongside the reading and planning. The reading and planning should always be carried out within 15 minutes. The same is with paper 2, except for the fact that question 3 should be given 12 minutes. Question 2 should be given 8 minutes. Question 4, 20 minutes. And finally, section B, the same as section paper 1, 45 minutes. All right, so this is how you divide your time in order to make up the most of your time and understand what goes into play when you are actually writing down the answers. Now, this is an exam style question from paper 1, and this has certain attention towards what it is actually asking you. So you have to read okay, so you have to read the first part of source 2, lines 1 to 9. Now, when they are specifically pointing out to the line numbers, you are supposed to focus on those line numbers alone, not the entire source. And after that, it is written, list 4 things from this part of the text that give a negative picture of Maycom. Now, here comes into play 2 different things that we need to discuss ASAP about the explicit ideas and the implicit ideas. Now, when they're asking you specifically enlist things from a certain excerpt, what you do is you simply pick out those things, the outright explicit ideas that are mentioned in the excerpt, and write them down as they are. There's no need to identify whether what kind of message they are bringing about, what they might be pointing out about the author's feelings, or what the thoughts of the author are, right? Uh, and you just need to enlist them. Simple as that. This question directs you to a specific part of the source. Only look at these lines for your answer. This means you need to list your points. You don't need to explain or analyze them. Are you getting it? So this is a pretty simple question. You need to be done with it within 5 minutes. All right. Then we have here a worked example. So this is how my structure of teaching is going to be. First, I elaborate on what we are going to study, what question we are going to target. We're going to discuss how to attempt it, what parts of the questions we need to look out for, and then there would be a worked example which we will be elaboratively analyzing what to be looking at and how to craft those answers. So this is the same question from another paper. List 4 duties that the narrator describes during doing in this part of the text. So this is the on the right side of your direction is an excerpt from the help, and it is outlining certain duties. Now, those include cooking and cleaning, get them babies to sleep, stop crying. And these are simply the 4 chores that you are going to be mentioning. Instead of telling them what they are signifying or what they're implying, you are simply supposed to jot them down within 5 minutes of your time under the question. And then after we have discussed a worked example, what we do is we try out something for ourselves. And I'll be attaching questions from exact past papers, right? And we'll be analyzing how to attempt them first, the worked examples, and then we'll analyze how you would attempt them and how best are you attempting them. We are going to analyze what kind of mistakes you're doing, and then we are going to point them out. We are going to learn from those mistakes, and that's how simply what my pattern looks like. Okay, so again, skimming the main idea, I'm running past these topics as we go along, since we are really short on time. And definitely this is one of those ideas that you need to be keeping in your mind when you are reading the insert. So the insert is is attached with a question paper, and in it, you're not required to scan it. You're going to scan it very later in your paper. First, you need to skim for the main idea. All right, what the excerpt is about. What does the heading say? What do the paragraphs represent? What do the lines in those paragraphs represent? And so it is skimming is one such ways to maximize your time that is available in the exam by skim reading. First, skim the texts for the main idea and to understand the purpose, content, and target audience, then follow up with the second, more detailed reading. In particular, skim reading will help you with the non-fiction sources in paper too. So this is how it's going to be. The excerpt is given, the heading is given, and it's emboldened, right? And then we have here the first paragraph. You need to look at immediately at the heading, then the first sentence of each paragraph, the last sentence of the text, and analyze what the main idea could be. And while you're at it, all right, so the pink box says to make your skim reading even more so useful, read the questions carefully first. The questions will give you clues about the main ideas or themes in the text. So this is the rule of thumb, I would say, and that's what I suggest to all of my students, that first, whenever you are given the paper, you're first to read the questions, not the text, but the questions, so that you get the idea what kind of excerpt you are going to dive into. And then the second rule of thumb is to skim the excerpt for the main idea. That's the order of things, and that's how you should do it. Annotating the resources, the sources that are attached And so the excerpts that are attached, how are you supposed to analyze them? You're going to take 15 minutes of your time reading them. And while you're reading them, you're going to do a small case of highlighting or annotating them, which is underlining those things that catch your eye, and you're going to include them in your answers, and then immediately make a note right next to them so that you don't forget and you don't run off on tangents when you are actually writing the answers down. So this is one of those ways where you are able to understand how things actually work while you're right in the middle of action and you're attempting the paper. So that's about it for today. And I hope this session was enough for you to grab your to grab your attention and convince you into taking the actual course, the actual workshop, which is going to be no doubt going to be very beneficial for you and your upcoming exams, whether they be the board exams or the mock exams. And that's how it's going to be. And it's going to be fun with all sorts of things, all sorts of fun and examples, and so much more. Trust me, you're going to enjoy. Take care.